Well, hello and welcome to the Disgruntled Traveler Podcast. I'm your host with the most, Tammy. And today's story, I have a glass of water because this is really a good one. Today's story centers around how to travel safely, especially when you're traveling as a solo female woman, traveler, okay? I'm not using he, thee, thou, all these pronouns, okay? We're just getting down to a regular female that's on the road traveling by herself as me, okay? I'm going to give you the backdrop and then I'm going to get into the story. This didn't actually really piss me off as much as it scared me. And I've been on the road, give you a backdrop. I've been on the road for almost 2 years, and there's not too many things that I've run into. The majority of people in the world are very good. You know, they're very friendly, they're very helpful. Nobody's out to actually get you, you know, and it's very, very safe. So with me telling this story, I don't want to scare any women out there into thinking, oh my God, well, this happened to her, this could happen to me. I'm just trying to put it out there to tell you that if you stick with your spidey senses, your woman spidey senses, it will always serve you right. If something doesn't feel right to you, then you walk away. And if you can't just walk away, then you got to get a little creative in order to create that situation where you can walk away. And that's where this story comes into. So this takes place in a country called Serbia. Where is Serbia? It's in the Eastern European region of the world, and it's one of the Balkans, one of the Balkan countries in Eastern Europe. Very lovely country, very lovely people. And in particular, the city I was in was called Niš, but they actually spell it N-I-S, like no I-S, but they pronounce it with an H. So if you want to look it up on the map, Niš, Serbia, it's the southern part of Serbia. It's nestled in the mountains in a valley, and it's really a beautiful place. I mean, I'd say it's definitely worth a place. It's a place to visit. But I had this one incident that took place at a park. Okay, so one day I was just like, I've seen all the attractions. I just want to get out of the city and I want to actually get out in the woods and maybe go take a hike. And, they said that there was a really nice park that you can go to with hiking trails. And it was on, the outskirts of town. And it's a very popular place for locals and tourists alike. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So I hopped on the local bus there and I went ahead and took a ride into this park. So I get there, the place is gorgeous. I can't remember the name of the park to save my life because this was a few months back. But you get into the park, you get off the bus and you walk in and it's all woods. And the park itself is set up so cool. And this is where I met this one person. But it's all the locals are out there. I think I really was the only foreigner at the time because it was sort of on the, what they call the off season. So there wasn't really too many tourists that were out there. But I mean, I sort of blended in. As long as you don't talk, nobody knows if you're Serbian or not. So it doesn't really matter. So I'm cruising through the park and I'm oohing and I'm on and I'm looking at all the beautiful trees and the view up there. Oh my God, it's on a mountain and you go to the end, there's a restaurant hotel and you can walk out on the deck and overlook the valley and the mountain with all the cute little homes down there. And I was like, wow, so I'm snapping pictures and I'm doing my tourist thing, So after that, when you walk through the center of the park, they have this coolest fountain. It's not just a fountain, where you could actually step into it and walk around, or you can swim. It's good for adults or kids. But what stems from the fountain itself is like this long, narrow, well, it's wide enough for people to sit, but it's a narrow like waterway that snakes to the center of the park. Okay? It's so cool. And you put your feet in there and the water is real clean. It's like green and blue and it's just so refreshing, especially on a hot day, because I was there in the summertime. So I've come up there and walk around. I was like, wow, look at all these people. Like they all were just sitting on the concrete under the trees. It's under the trees. It's shady. They took their shoes off and everybody's sitting there with their feet in the water, right? Because the water's only maybe a foot deep. I was like, well, I want to do that. And of course it's free. So I walk up there and I see a man sitting across from me. And he already had his feet in the water and he's just on his phone. He's not really paying attention to me. So I'm just standing there and I'm looking at everybody. And then he looks up and, he didn't speak any English. He was a man from Serbia. And he's like, just, he's pointing to my shoes. He goes, you could take off your shoes. And he was like, put your feet in the water. And I was like, with his hand gestures. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to do it. So I took off my sandals and I sat down and I'm just chilling. And the guy, like I said, he didn't speak any English, and he went back to his phone and he's chilling. So I was like, okay, cool. And I'm just looking at all the beauty, all the surroundings, and I'm just relaxing. I said, this is really nice. Then all of a sudden, there's another man that comes up to put his feet in the water. And this time he's not across from me, he's over to my right. So I didn't think anything of it, if you're another person just coming up to stick their feet in the water, right? So he comes up and he speaks, well, first I didn't say anything to him. He said something in Serbian and I said English, like Ingleski is how they say it. And he goes, oh, English. But he actually had a German accent. So the guy, we got into a conversation. So he sits next to me. He puts his feet in the water and we start talking because I was like, wow, somebody actually speaks English, that I could actually carry on a conversation with. Like you run into people in Serbia that speak maybe broken English, but you can't really like have a conversation. This dude actually spoke pretty decent English. So I was like, okay, I got somebody to talk to. Him soaking my feet in the water. Cool. So we start hitting it off and we're talking and he's a fairly good looking guy. He was, I'd say he's in his 50s. He had some like gray short hair and he had really pretty blue eyes. I mean, his eyes were crystal blue. They were mesmerizing. So I was sort of taken back by that. I ain't gonna lie. I thought he was a pretty good looking guy. So, he tells me, I said, so do you live here? And he goes, I said, are you Serbian or do you live here? You sound like you have a German accent. And he goes, oh no, I am from Germany, but I am living here now. He goes, I've been here for a while and now this is my home. And I was like, okay, cool. And, I told him I'm from America and he goes, what state? And I tell him I'm from Florida. I don't give out too much information. But of course he's like, are you traveling alone? Well, obviously I am. I'm the only one there. So, well, yeah, I'm out here, traveling alone. Now, I could have lied in that moment. I could have said, well, my husband or my fiance or my boyfriend is coming later to join me. I could have maybe said that, and that may be a pro tip. Maybe I should have at that point. But I was at the point where I felt comfortable with this man enough where I could just tell the truth. Okay? So at that moment, my spidey senses weren't firing off. Okay? Like there was no red flags. He seemed like a really good guy, like a gentleman. Okay, so I'm getting ready to put my shoes back on because I wanted to go finish walking around the park. And I knew there was some hiking trails that I wanted to get on. And I just mentioned it. And plus there was a church. There was this really cool, small, striped Orthodox church that was sitting on a hill halfway up the hiking trail. And I had it on my Google Maps. And I showed it to him, and I says, I want to get on my shoes. I'm going to go and take a look at this church. And he goes, I could show you where the church is at. He goes, I'll come with you if that's okay. So at first I'm like, really don't want anybody tagging along with me, you know? Because when I travel solo, I want to do things by myself, basically. But I was like, you know, I wanted to be friendly too, because I thought, well, maybe this church is in the public zone where all the people are, because the place was pretty, I wasn't say it was crowded, but there were enough people there where I felt safe to walk around with this guy. So if anything were to go down, I could scream or I could run away. I mean, there's people everywhere, okay? So I'm like, okay, show me the church, right? So we start walking, and he's asking me, what's your favorite music? And I start telling him about different bands I like. He says, oh yeah, I like those bands too. And I had my app open. And I says, well, it says to go this way and to the right, you know, following. He goes, oh, I know a shortcut. So I'm like, okay. The next thing I know, like we're going out of the center of the park where all the people are. And now we're starting to head, like there's a big mountain, and that's where the hiking trails are. And we got to almost the head of the hiking trail, and we stopped. And he goes, the shortcut is up there. And I'm looking around, and I'm seeing nothing but woods. I see no people out there. And I'm like, that's when my spidey senses started firing off. And here's another thing that rubbed me wrong about this. Then he started to do some weird shit. Because while we were walking up towards the head of the trail, he almost tried to like hold my hand. Like, I don't know you. Like, I'm like, dude, like, I don't know who you are. You know, I just know your name, your first name. And guess what his name, if it was even real, he said his name was Dragoon. I'm like, dragon? Like this? You know, I'm pointing to my dragon tattoo. He goes, no, Dragoon. I'm like, okay, your name's Dragoon, whatever, right? So that's all I know about the guy. I know he's from Germany. I know his name is Dragoon. And the next thing I know, he's trying to lead me out of the public zone of the park into the trailhead where there's nobody at. I don't even know if the church is really up there, because according to the Google Maps, he was taking me away from the church, not near it. That's why I kept my app up, because I didn't want to trust this guy 100%. And then he's trying to hold my hand. And then he's telling me on top of that, you're very beautiful. I just wanted to tell you that. So now I'm like I said, ding, 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 red flags, spidey senses. And I'm like, okay, in my head, I'm thinking, I got to get rid of this guy. I got to get away from him. He's making me very nervous. I think he's got bad intentions. He may be trying to rape me, steal my money, because I'm wearing a sling bag with all my stuff, my passport, my money, everything's in it. Or he could be trying to do both, or he could even kill me. Like I said, there's nobody up in the mountains unless some, person hiking hours later finds my body or something. So I'm like I said, I'm getting very, very leery about this dude. So I look at my phone and I show him. I say, oh, no. I says, Google Maps is saying that we need to go this way, not that way. And then he keeps insisting, he goes, no, but that's a shortcut. And maybe it was legit. I don't know. But I was like, no. I'm going to follow Google. Okay. So I started walking away from where he was leading me, and he starts following me. So I'm like, okay, still got this guy on my ass. He's still following me. So he starts following me, and I was like, okay, now Google Maps is taking me back into the local park where all the people are, which is, I started to feel better about that. Then he says to me, all of a sudden, supposedly he got a text message. He pulls his phone out before he said something to me. He pulls his phone out of his pocket and he reads a text message. He goes, "Oh, my daughter just messaged me and she needs me to pick up something from town. I have my car out here in the parking lot. Do you need a ride back to your place?" I was like, thinking to myself, are you kidding me? Does this guy think I'm that stupid? Like, I'm just going to jump into your car after you just try to take me up into the middle of a mountain out of nowhere. I'm going to literally let you drive me. Yeah, drive me home. I says, okay. I says, no, that's okay. I says, you go take care of your business with your daughter. I have a ride home. I came in on the bus. I could take the bus back home. He goes, are you sure? It'll be quicker. I could drive you back to your, like, I'm even going to let you know where I'm staying? Oh, hell no. No way, dude. So I was like, no, I was like, go ahead. I said, I still want to walk around the park. Anyway, I'm going to be here for a while. I told him, I said, I'm going to be here a while. He goes, I can wait on. I said, no, I'm going to be here for at least another hour, if not 2. So you might want to go take care of business with your daughter. Okay. So he finally leaves. Okay. So I sort of go off to the side of the park, and not to hide, but I was like, just like, I wanted to be out of his sight to make it look like I was still walking around, but I wanted to be able to be in eyesight of him so I could see where he was going. Because was he really leaving? Or was he playing chicken with me and following me around, right? So actually I did watch him go out to the main parking lot. And since I was up on sort of a mountain cliff, I could see the parking lot. And I saw him walk off and go to his car and leave. So I was like, whew, thank God I got rid of this dude. So that is the story. That's the story. I don't know if I would have done it any different. You know, in a way, it's like I am a very trusting individual. Like, I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt that, you know, we're all good people and nobody has ill intentions to harm me or anybody else in this world. And I know that's very naive. It is naive in thinking that. And that thinking almost cost me a lot. It probably would have cost me my life, you know? So, but I think I did the right thing. Like I said, I let my spidey senses kick in, especially with, you know, the hand, almost trying to hold my hand, tell me I'm beautiful, leading me astray up into the empty woods, and then asking to get into his car. Those are all red flags. So I feel I handled myself pretty well. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. If you have any stories similar to that you'd like to share in the community, then feel free to drop it in the comments, by all means. And, you know, just be safe out there. That's my main thing. Just traveling alone as a female, just be aware of who's around you, be aware of who's talking to you, and what, you know, what they're trying to get you to do. So if they're trying to manipulate you away from a certain area to isolate you and get you alone, and you don't want to be with this person, then you got to find a way to get clever to get away from them. And hey, it worked for me. So anyway, always remember, I am the Disgruntled.